Hello, we're glad you're with us today. We're glad that you're watching our video. And I hope that we're answering your questions. Today we have a very important question, and that is, did Jesus really rise from the dead? Now we're going to look at the evidence for that. But before we look at that evidence, we need to look at the claims of Jesus Christ. Because if Jesus truly did rise from the dead, then everything that Jesus said was true. Now, the first thing that we're going to look at that Jesus said was that He claimed to be God. That's outrageous. If Jesus or you or I are just men and we claim to be the God of the universe, that would be akin to someone claiming to be a poached egg. It would mean that he was a madman, a megalomaniac. But if Jesus Christ was truly the creator of the universe, then you would expect Him to make the claim that He is God. And He did make that claim over and over and over again in His life. He claimed to be the I Am. I Am is a title in the Bible that refers to the self-existent one that has no creator. He is the creator, never was created. He claimed that title. He claimed to be the Lord of the Sabbath day. Now, to claim to be the Lord of the Sabbath day is to claim to be the God who created everything, who rested on the seventh day. These are amazing claims. Jesus also claimed to have created Abraham, to have created Moses, to have been there at the creation of the world. All of these things are amazing. Jesus not only claimed to be God, He claimed to be able to do things that only God can do. Jesus claimed to forgive sins. Now, if Jesus was just a man, to claim to be able to forgive sins, again, is outrageous. He not only claimed to forgive sins, He claimed to be the judge of all the earth. He said that He would come back in the clouds to judge every person. He also claimed to be able to grant eternal life. He said, if you believe in me, you will have everlasting life. Now, Jesus, and this is the most amazing claim of all, Jesus claimed not to be seeking the truth, not to be looking for the truth or looking to find the truth. He claimed to be the truth. He actually said this. He said, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No man cometh unto the Father but by me. In other words, Jesus was saying that He was the only way to heaven. Now, if Jesus is truly God, you would expect Him to make those claims. If God came to this earth to save humanity, you would expect Him to say, look to me. And that's exactly what Jesus did. Now, those are the claims that Jesus made. Now let us look at the life and the death that Jesus accomplished. His life and His death were unique in the history of humanity because Jesus had a death and a life that was prophesied hundreds and hundreds of years before He ever came to this earth. We have so many prophecies that put together to have them all fulfilled in one person would be scientifically impossible, and yet we have them all fulfilled in the life of Jesus. Just a few of the prophecies are that Jesus would be born in Bethlehem, born by a virgin. He would live a sinless life, and all of the details of His death are recorded in the prophets. In fact, Jesus was to die the death of a crucifixion. He was to die in a way that when these things were being written about, this form of death was not even invented. And so He had a very unique death because it was prophesied. Not only that, it was unique because He claimed it to be substitutionary. That is, He would die on the behalf of other people. He claimed that He was the good shepherd and that He would give His life for His sheep. Now that is significant. So Jesus claimed to have a substitutionary death. Jesus' death is also significant because he predicted his own death. Early in his ministry, he predicted that he would die and that he would rise again. It's also significant because he said that his death was one that would bear the wrath of God for the sins of mankind. That's very significant for all of us, because if God is holy and he claims to be perfectly holy, not able to have any sinner or sin in his presence, then someone would need to bear the wrath of God, and Jesus claimed to bear the wrath of God. Now, another significant detail about Jesus' death is that his death was certified. It was certified. A Roman soldier came and took his sword and actually thrust it into Jesus' side, into the body of Jesus, and blood and water came out. Recently, I read an article from the American Medical Association talking about the verification of Jesus' death. And blood and water separating in the blood would signify that Jesus' blood was coagulating, that he was actually dead. Now, Jesus was buried. The New Testament account is clear. He was buried. He wasn't buried in an obscure tomb. In fact, if he was, then his disciples could have stolen his body and made all of these claims like some people have said. But it wasn't in an obscure tomb. Jesus was buried in the tomb of a rich man, of a ruler in Israel by the name of Joseph of Arimathea, and everyone would have known where that tomb was, not only because Joseph of Arimathea was a rich man, but also because you would not have been able to miss the 16 Roman soldiers standing outside of Jesus' tomb. Because the leaders in Israel were afraid that Jesus' disciples would steal his body, they decided to ask the Roman government. Now, we're talking about one of the most powerful governments in the history of the world, and certainly the most powerful government of that time. They sent a watch of Roman soldiers, that is 16 Roman soldiers, to stand outside of Jesus' tomb. So everyone who passed by would have known that Jesus was there, and they would have seen the 16 Roman soldiers. Not only were there soldiers, but they would have put a seal on the tomb. In fact, the historical records say that there was a seal on Jesus' tomb. What is a seal? It would have been a seal of wax. They would have poured wax around the entrance of the tomb, where there would have been a 2-ton stone in front of that entrance. And the seal of the signet ring of Caesar would have been put in the hot wax to dry.